All right, welcome to another episode of Medicine Mondays. I am yours truly, Dr. DavisPierre, your favorite board-certified internist, host of Medicine Mondays, host of The Real Physician Reacts. And this week we have a special episode. This is one of the most coveted guests on the show. I think this episode, makes guest appearance number 6, I believe. I'd have to go back into my records to kind of see, but of course this is a very famous person, but more importantly, a famous voice. You hear her every episode on the podcast, giving me such a fabulous introduction. Again, we are blessed to have Maria Davis-Pierre, my wife, the CEO of Autism Black, here back on the show again. Thank you for coming.
Happy to be here.
All right. So, of course, we have a lot to talk about, but obviously I don't think we can get much of it during this episode, right? Because there's a lot of different stages that we have to look forward to. But for those who, if this is kind of the first time they're catching this series, first time hearing one of your guest appearance episodes, and remember, Lunchline Community, into the show notes, in the description, what I would do is I will put a link to all of the episodes she has been on, as well as her personal links as well, too, to make sure you can go follow her. And then obviously you can check out the past episodes that she's done. But so who is Maria Davis-Pierre outside of just being my fabulous wife? Who is that?
Well, that's one of my most important roles, right? Also mother to our 3 children. But I am a licensed mental health counselor here in the state of Florida, and I'm also the CEO and founder of Autism in Black, Inc., which was founded because we have an autistic daughter who got her diagnosis early, and we saw that there was such a cultural gap in how we navigate this diagnosis compared to other races, other families. So I created Autism in Black to bridge that gap for Black parents to get the information to our communities that doesn't quite get there, to try to break the stigmas associated with this diagnosis, as well as we've evolved with our organization to now training organizations to being more culturally responsive when working with the Black disability community.
Love it. So last time you were here, we had a lot of amazing things to talk about. If you can, give a few highlights of what's been going on with Maria Davis-Pierre, with Autism in Black, since you've been on the show. And more importantly, we're going to delve a little bit into your business as far as what do we have to look forward to, especially if you follow any of us on our socials. You know, we've been talking a lot about this year's Autism in Black conference, but what has Maria Davis been up to since the last time she's been on the show?
Let's see. We were all as a family actually featured on PBS with the Parenting Minutes. We talked about connecting with emotions when it comes to raising autistic children. So we were featured in that. I also just did a lovely closing keynote at the University of Alabama on the Black Side of Autism. And recently was filming for Parent TV, which is located in Australia. So talking with them about the Black side of autism, the Black side of parenting a child with a disability, and the intersection of race and disability. So those are some of the key things that I've done lately.
So, and you kind of mentioned it a few times, the Black side of autism. Of course, when you first started this organization, this company, it was because you noticed a void, right? Just with our own child. You notice a void in services, notice a void in getting help, notice a void of getting information. So what is it that said, you know what, not only am I going to help fill this void, but like now I'm going to proactively go and educate, you know, again, University of Alabama, PBS, and all these other different organizations who clearly might have their blinders on, especially when we talk about the Black side of autism?
Mm-hmm. I think it was important when our colleagues were coming into our home, right, and providing these services, and they weren't quite taking our culture into consideration. You know, I'm Black, obviously, but as you all know, Barry is Haitian, and there's a cultural component to how we navigate society in general. And I think people don't understand when you're talking about that intersection of race and disability, in any intersection, really, race is just extremely obvious. So that's one of the first things that you see. And if you are a healthcare provider, if you're an organization and you're providing services, sometimes we don't check our biases and they get in the way of providing those services. So what I do is go out and help people realize those biases, right? And then also help them understand that as Black individuals, we navigate society completely different. So certain diagnoses impact us completely different because we then have to factor in our race and then whatever that diagnosis might be, whatever that disability might be. So just having them understand that we navigate this quite differently because of that race factor.
And such a telling point. I'm glad you kind of touched on it because it has been such a unfortunately an unfortunate learning experience to realize just how many vacancies in thought, vacancies in information that are out there. Obviously I as a physician, I do my physician thing. But as a father, I've had, again, I can't even count countless of conversations with just other Black men, right? Because their child was diagnosed with autism and they wanted to figure out like, how did I handle it? So even me, I'm still in that learning process of understanding as a father what it means to, be taking care of a child with autism and how that adjust my mindset, my goals, my plans and everything else. So definitely appreciate, again, your effort, right? Again, I say this all the time. And I tell this people publicly, right? When we talk about, the family, right? Like I always say, like, yeah, I'm here, I'm doing my little physician thing, but my wife is the one who's really creating such a significant level of change that in 5 to 10 years, like she's going to be introduced and I'm going to be the husband. Like, y'all know how that goes, right? It's like, oh yeah, no, this is Dr. Pierre and that's his wife. Soon it's going to be like, oh, this is, Maria Davis-Pierre. We won't get in your business because I was going to say something. And oh, by the way, her husband's a doctor as well. Like, so I love that. Again, you've taken the mantle and you've continued to build upon that. And as we kind of segue into building upon things, we got the 2022 Autism in Black virtual conference, right? Like that is we're full steam ahead with that, right? So again, we're not going to get to much detail, especially on this episode here. We got plenty of time to kind of go into more detail. But if you can, just for the audience, give the audience an idea of what that conference is, especially if they missed the first one, and some glimpses of what to expect moving forward.
So this is our annual conference. The goal, again, of my conference is to bridge that gap, to get the information to, our community and Black parents and really provide a safe space for that learning environment. I think that's one of the key things that we learned last year is that it was such a safe space for people that they were opening up, talking about things that they felt shamed or frustrated about or felt that they couldn't talk about. And of course, all of our speakers were amazing. So the learning was on point too. So that's one of the things that we really cultivate is that safe space for Black parents. And then also for organizations, anybody, healthcare, educators, for them to come in and learn as well in a safe space to be able to then take that information and impact the interventions that they may be doing. So that is really our goal with this conference. And I'm so excited about our second annual conference. We have so much more in store. We are upgrading our platform. So we have some new technology in store for everybody that we're really excited about. And of course, Barry is always the backhand technical man on that. So he'll update you all about the platform because I just show up and do what I got to do.
I tell people I like to call myself the CTO, right? The Chief Technical Officer in regards to Autism Black, really just kind of helping the technical aspect kind of, do what it does. Like education, that's all Maria, but the technicals, the background stuff, like I definitely play a good hand in that.
Yes, the biggest hand in that. We have a bunch of amazing speakers. So we just actually closed our speaker proposal. We've actually selected our speakers, and we will be notifying our speakers that they've been chosen this upcoming weekend. So by the time this airs, speakers will know who's speaking. So we'll be announcing that soon. We are about to release our sponsorship and exhibitor information, because a lot of people have been wanting to sponsor, whether it's a package, a ticket, or they want a booth or a table at the conference. Of course, it's virtual, and want to showcase what they're doing. So we will be having those links released soon. And then registration is going to open at the end of this month, and people will be able to start getting those tickets, because I know everybody's been asking me, when can I purchase my ticket? When can I get my ticket? It's coming. We are releasing those links at the end of the month.
And the virtual experience, obviously, especially, the time we're recording this, pandemic is still here. And that was a decision that was kind of made, obviously, in the middle of the pandemic. You're like, you know what, I'm going to do a conference. And of course, I have the ability, because, everyone's kind of doing the virtual thing, to kind of do a virtual. Was there any decision and reason why this year you also were like, I still want to kind of keep it virtual? And more importantly, is there any plans maybe in the future when we do, again, especially as a medicine doctor, I talk about this all the time, do get past, right, this pandemic stage, right, and do kind of be able to adjust life with COVID-19? Is there any thought of doing a physical conference in the future, right? Not next year, but like any time in the future?
I think that's the thing about Autism in Black. We were kind of ahead of the game on virtual before everybody. And that really is because, as you know, what we go through personally, we understand that our time is limited a lot of time when you're raising children who have disabilities. So I wanted to make it accessible to everyone and not feel like they had to get on a flight, pay that money, pay for a hotel, and then, come to wherever the location we're having the conference. I wanted to make it as accessible as possible to families so that they can get that information. So I think that's one of the key things with Autism in Black, is that most everything we do is virtual, in regards to providing that information to parents. Yes, you see me traveling here and there to go and do my speaking, but when it comes to services for parents, I really like to make sure that it's accessible. So I think that's a quality that we're definitely going to keep. We may in the future do a hybrid model, where it's both online and in person, because I know a lot of people do want to have that community in person. So we'll more than likely do a hybrid model, but I don't think we'll ever let go of that virtual piece when it comes to our conference.
And I love it. And that's kind of the train of thought that we had, was because obviously if we're preaching accessibility and we're preaching, doing for the parents, like then, taking that option away by saying, like, the only way you can get this information is if you take time off of work, get on the plane, obviously have either someone take care of your child or bring the child with you, and all these type. And me and especially because we have 3 kids, it's an adventure just to go to the grocery store.
Yes.
Just to go down the street to one of these, supermarkets, right? Like it's an adventure just to do that. So imagine having to prepare for a conference. You may not be in your right mind to receive all of the information that's going to be there for you at its fullest, right? So again, definitely love the fact that, yes, we are going to keep it virtual, because we, again, at the end of the day, the audience, right? Like if you had to say, like, who is my ideal person, right, that I want to come to this conference, right? Who would that be? Or what does that person look like?
Oh, I think it's many different people, right? So one, if you are a Black parent who's raising a autistic child, this conference is definitely for you, because we're providing that community. So I want you definitely to be at the conference. If you are a family member to a autistic person and you're wanting to get more information on how you can best support them, this conference is for you. If you are any kind of educator, healthcare professional, lawyer, organization, anything that deals with working with autistic individuals and their Black families, this conference is for you. You should be here. You should be learning so you can take that information back, implement it, and be more successful in what you're doing, because that cultural component is so important. And our theme this year is culturally responsive parenting and advocacy. So we're really going to do a deep dive in how to really take those culturally responsive pieces and apply it to the work we do, or, into our daily lives as parents.
I love it. So before we get you out of here, again, we're still kind of in the early thought process. Like I said, we're just choosing speakers. We're just getting, we're going to start working on getting sponsorship packets and everything else. But where can people find you to follow up with you as far as, more information on the conference, or just follow you, kind of your socials, kind of give some of your kind of socials and your information out there before we get you out of here?
Sure. And I do want to make one more announcement. We are putting out a coloring book. So me and our daughter have co-authored a Express Yourself Feelings coloring book that is going to be dropping soon, and we'll be doing pre-orders for that soon. So be on the lookout for that. And we're excited because our daughter is now an author. So, we're all about entrepreneurship and making sure that they are going to be set for life way after we're gone. So this is one of the ways that we do that. And I think it's so important, especially when thinking about disability, providing opportunities for your children who have disabilities, because we know that the workforce isn't that inclusive when it comes to individuals who have disabilities. So our daughter is now an author, and our book will be, our coloring book will be coming out soon. So we're very excited about that. So I wanted to mention that.
Love it. Love to see it. Love to see it.
And of course, you can find me on Facebook at Autism in BLK, on Instagram, and every other social media platform. It's all Autism in Black, spelled all the way out. And of course, my website is www.autisminblack.org. And we're gearing up for our new season of the podcast, which will also be dropping first week of April. So you can always go follow Autism in Black on any of your podcast streaming platforms.
All right. And remember, Lunch and Learn community, or my YouTube community watching this now, remember all the links that you just dropped will be in the description, will be in the show notes. Please make sure, obviously I'm going to be promoting whatever chance I get, but please make sure you follow her. That way you're first in line. When the coloring book drops, when the conference tickets. If you're a business owner, you're an organization that you need to be sponsoring a conference like this, because you need your organization and your business in the eyes of such a significant community. Because I think that's what tripped us out last year, is recognizing how big that community was. Once it was a virtual community, we're like, whoa. I think that kind of was all right, yeah, we're doing the right thing. So again, if you're a business owner, organization, and you're thinking all right, yeah, I definitely need to put my sponsorship dollars to work, and this is the type of organization I need to put it in, please obviously follow her socials, and everything will be in the description to make sure you follow up and get on board for sure.
Exactly. And I think that was definitely the surprising thing. I was not expecting to have close to 500 attendees at this conference. So that was definitely one of the surprising things. And our reach as well was massive. So I think that if you're wanting to get into the know, if you're wanting people to hear about what you do and you offer a culturally responsive piece to the disability community, please think about doing a sponsorship or having an exhibitor table.
I love it. So again, Lunch community, thank you. And again, Maria, obviously, all right. Thank you for joining. We're going to see you guys next week.
Bye.